Welcome to the first mini course of the Orthodox channel. So, if you have been following my work, you know I talk about language as soft power and cultural intelligence. Well, that's a part of the work that I have provided through newsletters, videos, and also through a mini document that is available, by the way, for you to download on my website. I thought about these two concepts being connected somehow, and well, it is logical. Language and culture are always interconnected, right? So, if you've read the Cultural Intelligence Compass, you can remember that the definition of the cultural intelligence goes as this. So, it is our ability to interpret and adapt to different cultural contexts, and it is an interpretation that is performed or done through our capacity for empathy, non-judgment, and detachment. This is the core trait that will allow us to navigate seamlessly, for saying it in some way, through different cultures, and to adapt to what really counts through different cultural contexts. It's not my culture against theirs, or their culture against mine, or a hierarchy of cultures. It's simply navigating the cultures through the general patterns that you can observe and adapt to. So it's a very interesting work that you can do in order to simply navigate and adapt like a chameleon, actually. I think that the metaphor of the chameleon is going to come later in my work, but for now it is simply a nice way to explain what happens, what you do when you are actually culturally intelligent. So, to go back to the relationship between cultural intelligence and language as soft power, we need to check, of course, language as soft power, the concept itself. So, as I said in my newsletter, but I say it here again, language as soft power is simply the power of your ideas and intentions concealed through words and language, and how it is deployed strategically and spontaneously in the different interactions that you go through in order to achieve your goals. It can be cooperation, seduction, information, education, you name it. It is up to you to define what is your goal and how you achieve it with language. It's not about perfect words. It's about perfect words used perfectly. Well, not perfectly. Let's avoid perfection, right? But we can say that it's rather the proper use of language in order to achieve different goals. So that's why, as you can see, the concept of language as soft power and cultural intelligence are related. It's simply the proper use of your agency, of your linguistic agency, of your cultural agency, and your capacity for interaction with your species. The thing is that these concepts are very important today because even though we are open to the world through internet, and we are more and more connected with other cultures, it seems to me that the internet culture itself, through social media, social groups, and so on, tend to create some sort of echo chambers, and these echo chambers, they often reflect things about our culture that, instead of allowing us to go for other visions, they keep us in those echo chambers. So the idea of working on cultural intelligence and language as soft power is also to benefit from the connection that we have with the internet. So let's see. I talked about the internet and I talked about culture, and I think here the key term that we can use in order to see where we are navigating, where we are moving, is the concept of arena. the agent, and the arena. So the agent, you are the agent within the arena, within the space, the cultural space, the digital space in which you move and you interact with the outside world, and the rest of the agents who are creating the information you interact with. So that's why you see it here. So that's what you get here. You get the agent, so you, and then you are in a direct relationship with the cognitive and cultural arena of the rest. So you are the agent interacting with the cultural arena, with the cognitive arena that also creates the patterns in which you are shaping your cognition, and you are shaping your intelligence, your capacity for communication, and how you relate to the world of information. Then this cognitive and cultural arena, well, it is where we navigate with cultural intelligence and where we deploy our soft power, of course. Now, we have to be even more, we have to go to a level that goes beyond the concept of cultural arena. That's when we start working with a pattern framework that comes from the 4E cognition. So 4E cognition, which is embedded, embodied, enacted, and the fourth one I always forget, embodied, enacted, extended cognition, of course, very important, which is basically the cognition related to the devices such as a smartphone, computers, and or whatever that store, let's say, cognitive abilities such as the memory and the capacity for writing and so on. Anyways, I'll talk about 4E cognition later, but what I want to specify here is that through different levels of cognition, through the 4E cognition, or through different perspectives of cognition, you will be able to detect the patterns that shape the cultural and the cognitive arena in which you are moving. In order to see this more clearly, you need to study culture and human interaction from the shapes and from the patterns, which means the repetition of movements, of utterances, of results of interactions. It's more or less like mathematical representations of everything that you see in everyday culture. So that's what you have to do. You have to function like a meat calculator in order to interpret reality. Now, when we talk about interpretation here, it's a very interesting concept because we also have the concept of interpretation and interpretability. So in this case, we are interpreting, in order to be culturally intelligent, we are interpreting from the pattern framework that we can establish. And by the way, in order to establish that pattern framework, you need to check the cultural intelligence compass, because there I talk about factors such as gastronomy, climate, language, everything that you see that composes culture, that we define as a culture. And from that we see, we take the core triad, which is empathy, non-judgment and detachment, in order to simply observe what works, what doesn't work, what defines something as, and so on. So that's how you're going to study culture. And in fact, that's how you're going to enjoy it, by the way. Some cultural behaviors, we don't understand them, or we simply we don't agree with them. It's not a matter of getting into the spicy topics, It's simply about understanding how other people understand. Whether you choose to act like them or not, that's another cup of tea. But here what we want is to observe, understand, grab and interpret and grab what is useful in order to navigate properly within those cultures. Well, to continue with the pattern framework, because I don't want to get lost in this in this part of the explanation. So we get the pattern framework in order to study and analyze the cognitive and cultural arena in which we are moving. And by the way, it is not only a matter of studying the cultural arena, it is also a matter of studying your interaction as well with the cultural arena, because that's where you're going to get an extra layer of patterns. It is very abstract. At first it might seem very abstract, but it's simply studying behavior, analyzing behavior, and integrating what works and integrating what seems plausible in the cultural and cognitive arena. That's it. So that's why in both concepts, the cultural arena and language as soft power, I talk about mimetic actions, because it's not that you're imitating, is that you are simply repeating the patterns, integrating the patterns through action. Once they are integrated, they are yours. That's it. They are not only the patterns and the behaviors of the culture, they are also yours. So this is something that you need to understand. As human beings, we were born in that side of the world, within a specific culture, within a specific timeline, whatever. But you need to understand that other people are simply reproducing what the cultural arena gave them, and that you can do the same. That's it. And of course, with language, it is the same. For language learning, by the way, we'll be doing more or less this kind of explanations, especially from the perspective of metacognition, but that comes later. For now, let's focus on this part of the work. So, as I was saying, you need to build a pattern framework from a 4E cognition perspective, which is basically what, by the way, I haven't explained about our 4E cognition. So when we talk about 4E cognition, we simply talk about how you live the cognition, how you live your intelligence and interpretative capabilities through different layers. So in this case, we talk about 4E, so embedded, embodied, extended, and enacted. So embodied, which is that you embody literally the cognition, the intelligence, the capability, the different capabilities to understand and interpret and doing things with the information outside, within your body, within your mind. But it enacted, which means that you do it through. It is through the action that you also get to prove that you are able to deploy your cognitive abilities, and that's embodied, enacted, extended, as I said previously, which is the cognition that is replicated, or rather stored in different parts of the external world. It can be through technology, it can be even through different systems, you name it. And then you have I said embodied, enacted, extended, embodied, enacted, extended, and I always forget the fourth one. I always for some reason I'm always forgetting one of the four. Sometimes I forget the extended. Sometimes I forget the enacted. So we have embodied, enacted, extended, and well, when the fourth one comes, I will explain it. I'm sorry, but I want to continue with the course, and I want to avoid cuts in the video. I'm not used to cuts in the video and video edit, so I'm sorry. So anyways, through the different layers of the 4E cognition, for now it's a 3E cognition because I haven't been able to explain the fourth one. you get to create the pattern framework that will allow you to understand cultural and cognitive arenas. So, of course, when we talk about the cultural and cognitive arenas, we talk about language, which is the essential tool of every culture, right? So, language, in this case, we see it from the perspective of soft power. I said that we gather our ideas and intentions and we frame them, we conceal them through words, through messages, okay, through utterances, and then we deploy them strategically and also with a bit of spontaneity. So it reminds me, by the way, of the way that the Western, the Western world and the Eastern world function. By the way, it's more like if you think about precision, tactics, those features are more related to the Western view of how the world of and language should work. And then when we see the Eastern perspective of things, is more within the vibes and the spontaneity and the pragmatic. So what you have to do with soft power nowadays in a connected world is mixing both. That's, by the way, one of the reasons why I insist on simply learning more languages, but not only learning languages in order to understand how you get to speak with people outside, because you need to appropriate the mind concepts. You need to appropriate, you need to own how other people think outside of your cultural sphere. It is very, very important nowadays. Ideas are circulating everywhere from different cultures. Geopolitics are in a very heated situation. The internet, AI, everything is accelerating. And in this case, in my humble opinion, one of the best weapons you have, or one of the best strategies you can use in order to deploy your soft power is learning other languages more. But more than learning other languages, you need to learn about what the structures and the underlying systems of other languages can give you. Because remember that you're not speaking Spanish, you're not speaking English, you're also speaking through the subconscious of those cultures, of the history and the different systems that are created through the different interactions. And that will allow you to, of course, build different pattern frameworks that will allow you to dissect cultural arenas. And this is very important. This is something that will give you an advantage in a world where people live in echo chambers, in a world where people are only seeing the world through the worldview of their culture. Nowadays, of course, cultures are different, but we live in a globalized world, and you need to understand that. The fact that you're seeing this video through YouTube, it's a big deal. I mean, come from Latin America, publishing this in Europe for an English-speaking audience. I mean, you see, and this is simply a tiny example of how the internet works. So you need to integrate that. You need to understand that languages are essential to build pattern frameworks that will allow you to dissect reality, cultural reality, cognitive realities, and much more. So I think that we can finish the course here. This is our first one. So for now, let's just sum it up as, the importance of taking the necessity of creating pattern frameworks to understand cognitive and cultural arenas, and deploying your power, your soft power through language by framing correctly your messages, your words, and by being strategic and spontaneous. So you need to play with both. It's like playing chess or like playing football. If you see how it's done, it's basically you do the same with language. So that's it. That's I think that we can stop the first part of the mini course here. I'll be probably giving more concrete examples of cultural intelligence and language of soft power for the next one. But for now, let's take this mini course as a small commentary on how both concepts relate, why it is important to see cognitive and cultural reality through patterns in order to send better messages to the world. So we can stop here and stay tuned if you want the second part of the mini course. And of course, I invite you to read my newsletters because they are although handwritten, of course, but I mean I write on my computer, but I write them. I don't use AI, so there are sometimes mistakes and so on. But you know, AI is there for the perfect structure. So I do enjoy writing them, and I do enjoy sharing all this because I think it provides a new perspective, and I quite like it. So if you're interested in this kind of concepts, follow my work through the socials. Go to the Orthodox website. Everything is in the descriptions of YouTube and my other socials. So stay tuned, and soon there will be the second part of this course. So see you soon. Bye bye.